All right. So today we're gonna be talking about something that I just discovered, or a little. Um, it's not little. I had a realization about something that we could have been looking at the wrong the whole time, and I'm gonna turn on the music just a little bit here. Um, that's it. Well, welcome to episode 4 of pre-introduction. So yesterday, a couple of things happened. I went to the library for the first time, public library for the first time. I've been to school libraries, but those works a little bit different. Not really, actually. I guess I haven't actually checked out a book at a library for a really long time, and yesterday was the first time I checked out a book, which was really interesting because when I first got there, like the first thing I saw was a kids section of the library. So I was trying to figure out where to navigate myself because it was huge and there was books everywhere. And I walked in. Usually you're greeted by the librarian, kind of, how can I help you? But I was lost. That didn't happen, by the way. I was not greeted. So I kind of looked around, see where I'm supposed to go, and I saw this little sign called Teen and Adult Services. Immediately, I was thinking about like a little bit dirty, I guess, like triple X, triple X, like adult movies. You know, like when you go to like Blockbuster and you have a little curtain and has like adult movies or adult section. And I was thinking about that, but obviously it's a library, so that's not going to be the case. But I don't know why that thought came up. But so I went ahead and walked upstairs, and that's where the section that's where I was supposed to be. The books were bigger, the chairs were bigger. The two first sign I was in the right place, but I kind of dug around to see where the self development book section are, because that's my favorite section. And uh, yeah, but I could not find the section because the library apparently is sorted out in a different way than Goodwill. Goodwill has section where they call romance, horror, sci-fi, nonfiction, or fiction. Different categories is in different places. But in the library, that's not the case. They are sorted by alphabetical order of the author. Me, myself, I don't pay too much attention to author unless they stand out a lot. So I don't know where to start. So I was kind of lost, and essentially I asked the librarian of where the self-help book was. She didn't know where it was. Well, she pointed me towards where the religious book was, and the first book I saw was God, and I knew for a fact that was not where I was supposed to be. So I kind of dug around, and I saw next to it, and I saw a book called Here and Now. I know that's where I was supposed to be. So I found it, and I found a really interesting book called How the Body Knows Its Mind. So in the book, it talked about a couple examples that kind of I guess, got the gear rolling a little bit, which led to the epiphany that I had this morning, a little bit last night, but more of it this morning. And a couple of examples that it was saying was, kids learn a lot faster when they use their entire body as a piece of equipment to learn or to gather information. Now, you know, like how we divide it up as in like kinesthetic, auditory, visual, and the different types of learning things. And you know, some identify like, oh, I learn better with sound, I learn better visually, I learn better with kinesthetic, touching things and doing things physically. And I think that's that's been missing, or that's a huge part that is not implemented into the school system. So I was thinking about, we sit in class and take notes all the time. We don't do anything but to just listen and look at the teacher and take notes. That's all we do. So using the whole body as a way of teaching, I thought that was really that idea kind of sparked up again. Like, oh yeah, why don't we do that? And then it kind of led to another example, which I cannot recall right now. All right, I'll come back to that later. And then I went to Goodwill the other day and I picked up a book called Qi Self Massage, and these theories, not theories, and these studies has been done by Taoist. I think I'm saying that right. Not sure. Taoist, and their way of or Taoists are known to be looking a lot younger, 20 years younger than their age, and they're known to look much more brighter, not like bright, but a little more clear when it comes to mentally. When it comes to mentally, a lot more clear mentally. There we go. Why is my speech, not speech? Why is my why can I talk? It's the eyes. No, but it was saying that this the Taoist has known this ancient way of healing yourself through different massages and different stretches and different self-healing in a way. And in the book was showing kind of different stretches to heal the neck, or to stretch the spine, and to compress and decompress, and ease tension through different breathing exercises and all this kind of stuff. And I thought it was really cool. So the point is that the Taoists are using the body as an instrument. And yesterday, and this book I was reading is like how the body knows its mind. So the body and the mind, that's like a huge category, or a huge movements that's been happening right now with the whole mindfulness and yoga, and about thoughts and depression, anxiety, and all this fun stuff. So I was thinking, because I've been suffering a lot of from thoughts flooding my head. It's like a river, and if thoughts were branches, my river is blocked. Like the river stopped because there's so many thoughts, right? So the moment I take one twig, a freaking tree log just falls right into the river and blocks another thing, right? And I spend 2 months removing the log, and you have this whole tree falling into the river, and it blocks the whole river from all kind of directions. So that's kind of like what my mind looks like. So I don't have a lot of times I don't feel like I'm just cruising through the day, just being not mindless, but at ease. I feel like there's always some thoughts like popping up and just shooting at me. I gotta dodge those bullets, and it's just very, I guess you could say, energy consuming, and it's very draining. It's draining my energy. It's like a faucet that's like turned on, and then I have like 1 gallon of water, and I'm producing like 1 drop an hour. You get the idea. But so all these thoughts I've been suffering from, and yesterday I was thinking about like, why is it that all this attention is on the mind and the brain, and our thoughts is all up in the head? Why isn't it that the thoughts come from our organs, or intestines, and our stomachs, and all the other organs that exist inside our body? Now let's say if we eat something sharp, let's say like like if we eat I was gonna say a light bulb, but that's gonna be extreme, but eating something that our body cannot process, let's say we eat like twigs or branches, right? Those gonna hurt our stomach. That's gonna drive us nuts. So eating a branch, my thoughts is not gonna be about the past. It's gonna be about what's happening. So the stomach is telling you, yo, what the hell did you just eat, man? Get this shit out of here. So that in itself, I was thinking, eating something bizarre like a branch, the thoughts that we're gonna have, like if the saying is that, or to kind of like go with this theory, is that the mind is different from the body, but it connects because we're one. But eating a branch, our thoughts gonna be different. That's gonna be extreme example, right? Now let's say we're eating fruits and vegetables, something that we are super healthy, but at the same time our body cannot digest it. Our thoughts gonna be affected by it because from what we eat. Now, I can say for a fact, if I eat 1 stick of butter, 2 chicken thighs at KFC, and 2 glazed donuts, fried, and a bottle of Coke, I'm not gonna be having the same thoughts as I would if I ate some grass wheat, some ginger, ground up turmeric, and a cup of tea. So, with that realization, I was thinking, maybe, just maybe, the body is what causes us to think a certain way. Because when you think about it, I can't think of one person, or even if I think of or could think of a person that has really good form when it comes to posture, right? Wait, am I recording this? Please say yes. Please say yes. Yes, I am. Okay, good. Am I? Hold on. Oh my god, please, camera. Okay, it's recording. Woo! Okay, anyways. I cannot think of one person that has good posture, that carry themselves very upright and look very bright to be depressed. Like I don't see anyone that's like walk around the street with like masculine, good looking, handsome, carry themselves upright to be sad about life. That doesn't work. That's like, the image cannot be created. It's like me putting a pig head on a duck. Like, it doesn't work. I mean, you could technically do that, but it wouldn't function. You don't see a duck with a pig head, or a rhino on top of a giraffe. It just doesn't work. But so the only time I would see someone depressed is when they have their head down, they're sitting on the street, or they're sitting somewhere just looking like a dark cloud. So, or and now that I think about it, Tony Robinson, he was talking a lot about this, and there's one phrase that he said that stood out like an Eiffel Tower in a water pond. And he said, emotion is created by emotion. And I tried this. I tried to do jumping jacks. I tried to do jumping jacks. I tried to do jumping jacks while talking very calmly and softly. And that does not work. It does not work. You put a Ferrari in a pond, it does not run. Kind of like that. So I was thinking, if I'm having bad thoughts and I'm kind of like down all the time, well, the whole thing with exercise as well, increase your mood and all that. I can see why. Your body's pumping, you're running, you're feeling good. So the course of this this podcast is gonna change just a little bit, and it's gonna be me exploring this whole path of body and how that affects my mind, because I know my mind is scattered everywhere when it comes to me trying to figure out a solution to the thoughts that I have, because that doesn't work. I'm always worried in a way, or anxious. So thinking about how not to be anxious and how not to be worried, I'm still stuck in my head. So I cannot think my way out of it. I cannot, if I dig down a hole, I cannot dig up. Well, technically you could, right? You just put the sand around you down, but the whole hole will collapse. So you can't dig down and dig up, so you only dig down, to get up. You need some help. So, or you need to climb, exactly. So, look, I just had a thought. So if I dig down with a shovel, right? And I try to, so the question is, how would you get up if you dug down? If you dig yourself down and you're trying to get yourself back up, but the dirt has to go up anyways. Okay, anyways. So what I'm trying to say is that if you dig down, right? Let's say like the dirt magically disappear as you're digging down. And if you do happen to use dirt around the whole thing will collapse. So the only way to get out is that you got to use your bare hands, your body to get out of the hole. So kind of like with now, I'm digging a hole with my head, and I can't get out of the hole with my head, but rather I got to get out of the hole with my body. So I got to use my body in a different way to get out of the thought process or whatever it might be. So, going back to like where this podcast will be going is me gonna go through and document this the body, how the body affects the mind, basically, because I think that we as a society and everybody is looking at this whole thing in the wrong direction, with the mind and having all these thoughts, and the brain is the reason why we have the thoughts. Because when we stop and think about it for a second, do we really know where the thoughts come from? Like, can we say the thought comes from our head? Can I say like, oh, I had a thought, boom, head, brain said this. But rather, how often do we say, oh, my intestines is telling me this? Like we don't have that connection. And I feel like we were just focusing on the brain so much that we forgot that the rest of the organs exist inside our body. We got our stomach, we got our large and small intestines, we got our heart, we got our lungs, and all these things. If I'm breathing smoke right now, I will not have the same thought as if I'm breathing fresh air from the Himalayan mountains. So I think that same thing is if I put my body, like I can disconnect it. If I stay in a room that is enclosed, dark, and have chains around, I'm basically painting a scene from a horror movie. But if I'm in that environment versus in nature, I'm gonna have different thoughts. So not that okay. So put the example of like if I put my head inside of a dark room versus I put my head in nature, will the thoughts change? Yes, most likely. Now, if I put my whole body inside of it, how would my thoughts be? I think my body would react in a different way. I would all of a sudden have fear. I will all of a sudden feel a different way about this environment. My legs wouldn't be as straight. I will be shaking maybe. Versus when I'm in nature, like the body will react a different way when it comes to these two environments. So I think a lot of the thoughts actually come from the body and not the mind. The mind could be just a channel that it's communicating to the entire body. And the thoughts actually comes from the body. So the journey begins with the body. And that's where this podcast will be. Kind of like the logs in the spaceship, Block 1. We're here in Mars and we are fine. We get on life supplies. We got water enough for to supply us for 60 days. Looking forward to Block 50 to get another resupply of water. And please, tell my wife to include some hot Cheetos in the bag. So, and the journey begins. This is basically journal entry 1. But pre-introduction 4. The 3 other podcast is kind of like I guess like the whole part of the whole idea. The whole reason of this is this. Like I start somewhere and it leads me to somewhere. And it's been documented. So this is awesome. But anyways, like how we always end it, not always end it, but let's end it with a cup of tea. On today's menu, we got some green tea and honey from Thailand, which is excellent. But that'll be it. Until next time. Okay, that was a weird intro. Outro. Let's just say bye. Ciao. Alright, I'm